Hey guys, Lee Swigum here with Health Frederick Sport Performance and Fitness. Gonna go through some stretching today, some dynamic warm up and dynamic stretching. I think most everyone is very familiar with static stretching, which is probably the most common stretching that, or what we're most familiar with anyway. That is where you're stretching by whether it's reaching to touch your toes and holding for 15, 20, 30 seconds, but where you're doing the longer holds or not actively moving, that's known as our static stretching. Typically that's going to be good for post-workout, or what I'd recommend is for post-workout or relaxing at the end of the day or something like that. But prior to activity, studies are showing that it's much more beneficial to do what we call dynamic stretching or moving stretching, where there is a contraction and an extension, obviously on opposite muscles. So I'm going to go through some dynamic stretching that you're going to do nice and easily. These are specific for hips, low back, hamstrings, quadriceps, and that sort of stuff. So hips and low back are your key really areas for strength, balance, the last part you want to injure. If you're going to get injured or have tightness and debilitation in the hips and back, that is really going to limit you as far as mobility and activity. So these are specifically for low back, hips, hamstrings, quadriceps, that sort of stuff for warm-up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the ground here, and this is something you can do again prior to workout, first thing in the morning, really anytime you feel tightness or stiffness, low back and hips, okay? You're going to lay back, arms out to your side, palms down. You're going to start with your feet and your knees together, and then lift your feet off the ground, having only your heels on the ground, okay? You're going to keep those feet together, and you're going to slowly rotate hips back and forth, pushing that top knee over a little more each time, being in nice, good control. It's not for speed, but for control. And again, keep those feet together, what we call stacked, okay? Keep the feet stacked. Press that top knee over. Should get a good stretch in that upper hip, low back, even maybe up into those obliques, all right? Nice and controlled, back and forth. Really not a set amount of time or amount of repetitions to do. It's kind of how much you need to feel loosened up. If that means it's 15 back and forth, 20 back and forth, again, there's not a specific number. It's what feels best and is right for you, okay? After about, again, 10, 15, 20 times back and forth, then we're going to speed it up a little bit. Just going to go back and forth a little quicker. All right, still stay in good control, not letting those legs just drop to the side or letting you rotate. Keep those shoulders on the ground. I'm just going to go back and forth a little quicker. All right, so again, that's going to be really good for stretching the hips into the low back. First thing in the morning prior to workout, anytime you have some strain, tightness, tension, discomfort in the low back and hips. All right, so that would be step one. All right, the second step for our dynamic warm-up is going to be some leg kicks. And this is going to specifically stretch out, work the hamstrings, maybe down to the tendons behind the knees, up into the little butt and the low back a little bit as well. If you need something to hold on to, that is totally fine as far as balance and stability. But you're going to kick opposite foot up to your opposite hand, keeping that leg nice and straight, slowly trying to push it up a little bit higher. Again, how many times you do that is really, you'll get into a comfort zone or feel, oh yeah, that's really helped stretch it out. 5 to 10 probably not enough, but 12, 15, 20, maybe even 25 to really get a nice stretch in that hamstring and slowly trying to push up a little bit higher. So yes, it's going to pull in the back of the leg. You're going to definitely feel a stretch. It might be a little difficult, but you're going to want to slowly try to push out of that comfort zone or past that comfort zone to gain a little bit of range of motion. If you just do where it's comfortable and just repeat that over and over, you're just going to get good at that range of motion. We want to slowly gain some range of motion. That also means pulling with that hip flexor a little bit, lifting that leg as I stretch. So contracting up here, pulling, and then extending or stretching in the back. And you're going to want to do that both sides. If you don't need to hold on to something, great. But leg kicks. Again, 15, 20, 25 each side. Again, that's going to be specific for the hamstrings, up into a little bit of glutes and low backs. So those are your straight leg kicks. Right, our third dynamic warm-up is going to be more for glutes and low back directly. Still, if you need to hold on to something, fine, but it's going to be a high knee, all right? So we're lifting our knee as high as we can. Basically, initially, try to maybe lift it to the waist. If you can get to the waist, try for belly button. Belly button, then up to the shoulder, or excuse me, chest, then actually shooting for the shoulder. So in this instance, I'm using my left leg, left knee, up to the left shoulder. Fit it up nice and tight. And again, if I need to hang on to something for a little balance, that's totally fine. And then we'll slowly graduate from that and do it without. Again, both sides. Again, this is going to stretch a little bit more to that glute, up into that lower back. Still using that hip flexor, a little bit of quad and low abs to pull up. All right, so again, 15, 20, 25 each side. That's going to help loosen up those glutes a little bit more. All right, so that was the third one. All right, and our fourth dynamic warm-up is going to be more for the quads. It's going to be a butt kick. All right, again, if you still need to hold on to something, fine. What you can do is pull your heel up towards your butt. So right heel to your right butt. All right, from the front, it'll look like this. All right, from the side. So all I'm doing is I'm going to contract or squeeze my hamstring, try to pull my heel straight up to my butt, and that's going to stretch through my quads. Again, if I need to hold on to something, that's all right. Do about 15 to 20, 25 each side. And you can alternate them as well. All right, but really squeeze that heel up, trying to hit your butt. All right, again, that's going to help loosen up, stretch those quadriceps. All right, so that was the fourth one in our dynamic stretching. All right, our next dynamic warm-up is going to be some lateral leg lifts or side leg lifts, all right? Specifically working the abductor. Abductor being a muscle that pulls away from the center of the body. So lifting our leg to the outside is our hip abductors, okay? For this, you'll probably want to have something to hold on to for balance. And you're lifting straight out to the side. You're trying not to tip away from the leg you're lifting, but trying to stay as upright as possible. Also, keep that toe forward, all right? So the side of the foot is being lifted, not rotating to my toe going upward. If I rotate the leg and get that toe going upward, I'm actually going to start using more of the hip flexor and quad to lift as opposed to that abductor or outer part of the hip into that glute, okay? So balancing on something and lifting straight to the side. All right, should start to get a little bit of burn in that outer hip. You may feel it on the opposite side, even stretching on the inside. This might be tight. It's a new motion for many people, but it's something that's going to be extremely important in loosening up that hip girdle, low back, and that sort of thing. So about 15, 20, 25 each side. Again, keeping that toe nice and forward. All right, so that's our side leg raise. All right, after the side leg raises, we're going to take that a little bit further, kind of do a pendulum motion or a leg swing, taking that outer motion and then still swinging it across. So it would look like this. All right, really letting that hip swing, trying to still get as high up on the side as you can, swinging across and lifting to the inside as far as you can. That is going to be a great movement to help stretch out and open up that hip even more. Again, you're going to do both sides. For this one, really going to probably want something to hold on to. But again, straight to the outside, straight across, and just let that leg swing freely. Lifting up, press across. Let it swing again like a pendulum, and you're really going to like how that feels in that hip girdle, opening things up, getting range of motion back in the hips. So that will be the next one to work on. All right, again, 15 to 20, maybe 25 each side. And then the last of our dynamic warm-up is going to be a rear leg raise. Again, holding on to something, and we're going to lift straight to the back. This may be easiest to have something out in front of you to hold on to. Lifting that heel as high as you can with a straight leg, keeping that toe facing down. Again, we're not rotating or turning that toe out. That toe should be nice and straight down. And you're really going to be lifting with that glute, especially that upper glute shelf into that low back, lifting straight up. All right, you can do a little bit of a swing with that. The difference between the swing and the lift is the swing is going to use a little bit of momentum. Now that may help a little bit in exaggerating or helping get range of motion because you are using the momentum. Without the momentum is actually going to use a little bit more of that glute muscle. So maybe what I would suggest is swing it for 10, get a little bit extra range of motion in there, and then the last 10 to 15 just lifting, kind of touching that toe right behind the heel, lifting straight up, mentally concentrating on using that glute low back area to lift that leg up, okay? So that's really going to help strengthen the posterior, especially in the glutes and hamstring as well. And so those are really the basics that I would do darn near every day, especially prior to a workout. Keep good back health, hip health, and flexibility in the lower extremities, and really the lower, probably most important part of the core. So hope that helps. If you have questions, feel free to message me. You can comment below if you'd like to get together for some individual stretching. If you're in the Phoenix area, I can come to you. We can meet at a park. I do have some facilities that'll be opening up in the near future in North Phoenix and Scottsdale that we can meet at as well. So get a hold of me, get in touch with me, let's get you in the best health you can, and getting ready to head back to those gyms in our best shape possible. So thanks for joining me, guys. Stay well. Peace.